Good morning, everyone. In this video, we are on page 8 in the note packet. So on these problems, we are going to be finding function operations and composite functions graphically using specific inputs. So if I wanted to find f plus g of x, that would be f of x plus g of x. So in the same sense, if I want to find f plus g of 2, that's going to be f of 2 plus g of 2. How do we find f of 2 and g of 2? Well, f of 2, we go to my f function, we plug in 2 as an input, and we see that we get 0. Then we go to my g function, which is the blue line, go to g of 2, which gives us -1. So 0 plus -1 gives me -1 for my answer. To find f minus g of -1, we can take f of -1 minus g of -1. So f of -1 would be 3, and g of -1 would be -2. Now careful here, because it's minus a -2, which gives us 5 for our result. Now for our next one, this is g times f of 0. So g of 0 times f of 0. So g of 0 is 0. And f of 0 is 4. So 0 times 4 is 0. Next, we've got our division. So f divided by g of -2 is f of -2 divided by g of -2. So f of -2 is 0 divided by g of -2, which is -4. And lucky for us, because if these were switched, the function would be undefined. But 0 divided by -4 is 0. So that is what f divided by g of -2 is equal to. Now this last one, you can go ahead and cross off this f plus g. Go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to find f of g of 3. Now, I like to show, instead of the fog notation, I like to show that in kind of the parenthetical notation, because I think it makes it a little bit more obvious what we are going to do here. Because a lot of times students get hung up on doing composites where I have to plug one equation into another equation, but don't forget that basic definition that we are streamlining two functions together. So if I approach this from a PEMDAS standpoint, we start with our x, or our 3, inside the g function. So folks, what is g of 3? There's my g function. Here's 3. G of 3 is -1. So now that I have found what g of 3 is, or that output, I'm going to take that output as an input in my f function. So the 3 is my ingredients. I put it in the g function and turn it to batter. And now I'm going to put that batter in the oven function to get a cake. So here, what is my cake? F of -1 is, making sure we follow up on the right function, f of -1 gives us 3. And that is our final answer for the